Chapter 11 The Eavesdropper. Former renowned newspaperman Jasper Scoop Johnson, who had given up journalism to write children's fantasy books, was having a rough time of it. No one wanted his stories, not even the one about his giant gorilla who ate Milwaukee. His mailbox was filling up with rejection letters, and Jasper was surprised to admit that he missed the newspaper business. He missed chasing down a new story. After all, his middle name was Scoop. No one had a nose for newspaper story like Jasper Scoop Johnson. If I can come up with the right story, I could get my old job back, Jasper said to himself as he browsed the children's book section of the library. Yes, that was it, he decided. He just needed the right story. And right there in the library, he found what he was looking for when he heard the word revenge. Hearing the word gave Jasper tingles. There was a story nearby. He could feel it. He perked up his ears and peered over the bookcase where he saw 3 suspicious villain types. Former renowned newspaperman Jasper Scoop Johnson was trained to know suspicious villain types when he saw them. And these 3 looked very suspicious and very villainy. One of them had a pink beard and an eye patch. Another one had a flattened nose like he had been in way too many fights. Jasper moved as he listened in. The guy with the pink beard was saying something about kidnapping a dog. The guy with the flat nose mentioned 3 names, Kevin, Mitch, and David. The third guy threw his head back and laughed, "Mwahaha," right out loud, right there in the library. The green-haired librarian put a finger to his lips. Shh. But the villain couldn't help himself. "Mwahaha." An evil laugh, Jasper said to himself. Where you find an evil laugh, you'll find a story. Jasper Scoop Johnson was back in business. A few moments later, when Dr. Dastardly, Numbskull, and Pinkbeard left the library, they had no idea they were being followed. What's the plan? Asked Numbskull. He knew it had something to do with the 3 boys and Raymond, but he wanted more detail. We go after the dog first, Dr. Dastardly said. Then we'll get the boys. The problem was, how did you catch a superhero dog? Didn't they have super dog powers? They already knew that Raymond could drool more than any dog ever drooled in the long history of drooling. But did he bite harder than a normal dog? Could he run faster? Could he leap tall buildings in a single bound? And more important, did he love what normal dogs loved? Like bacon, Pinkbeard said. And pork chops, Dr. Dastardly said. And pizza, Numbskull added. Pinkbeard had never heard of pizza. I say we start with bacon. Bacon it is, Dr. Dastardly led the way back to his old hideout in the abandoned warehouse district. He pulled out a needle and thread and began to work on a human-sized baking costume. Actually, it was a Pinkbeard-sized baking costume. But it looked like a giant piece of bacon wasn't enough. To really get Raymond's attention, you had to smell like bacon. You might be thinking about smearing bacon all over yourself is pretty gross. And you're not alone. Dr. Dastardly, Numbskull, and Pinkbeard thought so too. This did not stop the trio from breaking into a butcher shop late at night and grabbing all the bacon they could get their hands on. And they smeared it all over Pinkbeard, who looked and now smelled exactly like a giant piece of bacon. I have to admit, you do smell delicious, Numbskull said. Pinkbeard had called a lot of things over the course of his career, like a marauder or a pirate or someone who needs a bath, but this was the first time anyone had ever called him delicious. It had a certain ring to it. Jo Schmo was completely exhausted when she got home from the movie theater, where she had spent 2 full hours trying to watch a movie with one eye and look for people who might sit on her with the other. Try it sometime, it isn't easy. She had no idea that the movie had been about. Something about a romance, she thought, involving a handsome actor and glamorous actress. Maybe it was best to use her invisibility powers to catch bad guys. This is what she thought as she flopped onto her bed. The bad guys would have to wait. Jo Schmo couldn't keep her eyes open. Before she drifted off, she tied a string around her big toe. The string led out a window and down to Grandpa Joe's shack. If anything happened in the middle of the night, Grandpa Joe would tug on the string and wake her up. So Jo was sound asleep when a van pulled up in front of her house. Dr. Dastardly's van, that is. The one that had the sign painted on the side, Dr. Dastardly, Mad Scientist Free Estimates. And out of this van popped 2 evil bad guys and 1 gigantic piece of bacon. What do I do? Asked Pinkbeard. Go into the backyard and act delicious, said Dr. Dastardly. How does one behave in a delicious manner? Pinkbeard wasn't sure. He went into the backyard, looked at Joe's bedroom window, and did the bacon dance. This was a dance he made up on the spot, kind of like a hula dance with pork odor thrown in. No dog could resist. At least this is what Pinkbeard hoped. Jo Schmo was snoring away, but not Raymond. He was wide awake, staring at the ceiling and counting sheep. 425, his look said. 426. He stopped. Sheep counting wasn't helping. Every time he pictured a sheep in his head, he wanted to chase it, and he thought of the chase was keeping him awake. Finally, he got to his feet and went to the window and looked out. Raymond's mouth flopped open. He wanted to chase sheep. And why chase sheep when there's a giant piece of bacon dancing in the moonlight in the backyard, his look said. This has to be some kind of dream. He rubbed his eyes with his paws and looked again. Nope, there was definitely an enormous piece of bacon dancing in the moonlight. Raymond had never seen such a thing. He'd seen a giant sausage in the moonlight, and a couple times he'd seen dancing pork chops. But this dancing bacon was a first. He ran outside to investigate. Boy, did that dancing bacon smell good. He moved closer for a better whiff, and possibly a nibble. He never made it. Two figures jumped out of the bushes and grabbed him. One of them put a cloth to Raymond's nose, and Raymond took one sniff and everything went back. Chloroform, Dr. Dastardly said, works every time. Dr. Dastardly and Numbskull carried Raymond around to the front of the house and threw him in the van. In a tree across the street, former renowned newspaperman Jasper Scoop Johnson. You might think it would be difficult to jot down story notes while sitting on a tree branch. Well, if anyone could do it, Jasper Scoop Johnson could. After the van pulled away, Jasper jumped to the ground. Then he climbed into his car and followed. There was more to this story than dog napping. He could feel it.